Happy Monday, Mueller junkies. The world is pretty crazy right now, and separating out the noise from the news can be pretty tricky. Mueller, She Wrote is now the premier podcast dedicated to the Mueller investigation, and we owe that all to you. Please take a moment to rate us on Apple Podcasts and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Then feel free to share us with your like-minded friends and politicos. If you'd like to support women in podcasting and women in media, or just get in on the ground floor of our little project, head over to MuellerSheWrote.com and subscribe now. For as little as $1 a month, you'll get access to the MSW Book Club, our entire archive of bonus episodes, ad-free content, our weekly newsletter, and all kinds of great thank you gifts. We can't express how grateful we are to be able to bring you all the pertinent news each week, so thank you for making all this possible. This podcast contains laughter.
So to be clear, Mr. Trump has no financial relationships with any Russian oligarchs.
That's what he said. That's what I said. That's obviously what our position is.
I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians.
What do I have to get involved with Putin for? I have nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
So, it is political. You're a communist.
No, Mr. Green. Communism is just a red herring. Like all members of the oldest profession, I'm a capitalist.
Hello, welcome to Mueller, She Wrote. I'm your anonymous host, AG. Do you guys have your seatbelts on?
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, good, because it was a crazy week. With me, as always, is Jaleesa Johnson.
What's up?
And Jordan Coburn.
Hello.
Guys, Wednesday killed me. I was drowning in news.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, a lot went down. Seriously, breaking news on Wednesday was insane. We have 4 bonus episodes this week, including Nunes versus the DOJ. We have an inside look at CIA code names. We have Trump prepping for war with Mueller, and a free bonus episode on why I know Trump can be indicted.
Nice.
We're just going to release that to the public. I want to give you a taste.
Just a taste.
Just a taste.
That's like a smorgasbord there. That's a lot.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's going to be free. So keep your eye out for those. This week, Jaleesa is going to go over Mueller's investigation into Mifsud and his satellites. And Jordan, you have an update on your pals, Mashburn and Dearborn.
Indeed.
Yeah, that sounds like a Mumford and Sons, or like
it really does.
Like they play the mandolin or something.
For sure, they should be a folk band.
Yeah.
Of treason. Nice.
Folk treason. I'll be going over God knows what. But for now, let's try to tackle this week's news with just the facts. Okay, so first up, Trump forged his own Nobel Prize nominations, you guys.
Oh, geez. Not a surprise.
Twice.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, so the guy who hangs fake Time magazine covers in his golden toilet room.
Likes to get smacked with them, apparently.
Now, to be fair, this is conjecture, but who do you think would have submitted fake nominations for the Nobel Peace Prize? Not Trump?
Good point.
So basically, the Nobel Committee got a nomination for Trump from some pretty famous and legit person, and we don't know who it is yet. But it seemed odd to the committee that this person would nominate Donald Trump that really probably anybody would nominate Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. But this particular, they were like, no, I don't know if this happened. So they called the person and asked if they nominated Donald Trump, because apparently Trump didn't think that they would vet out the nomination or check references. And it turns out that person did not. Twice.
He used a fake reference. Wow, that's so humanizing. Like a job interview, and he lied.
He submitted it twice on behalf of the same huge person.
Yes.
What an idiot.
Last year and this year. Last year for what? I don't know. This year for the North Korea thing that they looks like they're gonna back out of.
Yeah.
The audacity.
How do you submit for that first one? Just like undecided.
Well, Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize pretty much after he won the election.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, okay.
Just because of his campaign, the nature of it.
Right. I think it was the unifying campaign
the
message.
Decorum with which he holds himself.
The hope and the lack of
hope. Yeah,
the lack of porn stars. I don't know. I guess maybe if you just don't have any porn stars in your campaign, you
get a Nobel Peace Prize for that.
You do. Yeah. So where's mine? Oh, wait. No, I'm kidding. We learned Sunday that a Ukrainian computer was involved in a hack on the recent Tennessee elections. The hack caused the voting site to crash when vote totals were being reported.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, county officials say that no voting data were affected, and the results will be certified later this month.
I mean, but how do they know?
Well, paper trail.
Okay. Good.
This will continue to happen as our shithead president continues to deny foreign interference in our elections because his penis is tiny.
It's a peener.
Yeah, he's far more concerned about the legitimacy of his victory than he is about the safety of our democracy, and it's getting old. This is going to be a big story in the 2018 midterms. It's why we have to. No, I don't care who you are, go vote. Register and vote. Vote Democrat across the board. We have to flip it. We're counting on you because, like I said, we aren't just fighting Trump. We aren't just fighting Republicans. We're fighting Russians. And now the UAE and Israel and Saudi Arabia.
Ukraine a little bit, I guess.
Ukraine.
They're part of it.
Just
vis-a-vis Russia.
There you go.
So, we learned Monday from Natasha Bertrand at The Atlantic that Mueller has been circling Mifsud. Chili, so you're going to go over that story a little bit later in the show. Great reporting from Natasha.
Really good.
Shout out to Mifsud's child.
Yes. Oh my God. Hang in there, man.
Sorry, baby. Then we found. Then we found out that Mueller's grand jury was going to be busy on Friday. First, they'll be interviewing the Ukrainian politician that communicated with House Trump on a plan to resolve the Ukraine conflict with Russia. His name is Andriy Artemenko. He contacted Felix Sater in February 2017 to find out how to pitch his peace plan to Trump. Sater hooked him up with Cohen, who then hooked him up with Flynn. The plan included an idea to lease Crimea to Russia in exchange for Trump dropping sanctions on Russia.
This is not
okay. Don't invade the sovereign nation.
Just borrow them.
We'll lease it to you for money, and then we'll take sanctions off of you for doing that.
And treat it like shit in the process, because it's a lease.
Seriously, it's awful.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have pets, probably. You know, it's...
Yeah, pet rent on a country. I can't imagine how much that costs.
It's got to be a lot.
Oh, my gosh.
Anyway, that's super dickhead squid pro quo. We also found out that one of Roger Stone's minions, a guy named Sullivan, will be testifying to the grand jury Friday. All told, the grand jury has taken testimony from 42 people. 42.
The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is 42.
Then we learned of a possible conflict of interest with the Mueller investigation, in that the FBI once worked with Deripaska in 2009. Mueller didn't direct the operation, but he was in charge of the FBI at the time and was kept apprised of it. Basically, the FBI got Deripaska to spend a bunch of his own money to help rescue a CIA agent that was captured in Iran in 2007. The U.S. didn't like the terms and ended up aborting the operation, and the spy is still missing to this day, 11 years later. It's a sad story. I do not see how this has any bearing on anything. I mean, let's say Olivia Benson and Elliot Stabler recruit a Russian sex worker as an informant to help them nab a sex trafficker, right? Then, 6 years later, that Russian sex worker murders 6 people. Oh, I guess we can't investigate her since she helped us one time?
No way.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
That's not how shit works. We found out this week that Mueller filed to extend the statute of limitations for one of the charges in the Manafort case, and that his motion was granted. Basically, one of Manafort's 18 charges, one of them, had an expiration date of June of this year, but Mueller successfully and secretly filed to extend it. He filed the motion ex parte, which means they didn't tell Manafort or his lawyers, leading me to the conclusion that Manafort is... Fucked.
Nice.
Excellent.
Hell yeah.
Medium reported Tuesday that Deripaska made an until recently unreported trip to meet with the Trump campaign in 2016. According to flight records, which is how we've been tracking Deripaska now, he landed in San Francisco in June of 2016 while the Trump campaign was there ahead of the California primaries. This is weird because he's been sanctioned and unable to visit for the past 8 years. And yet the State Department refuses to comment on who let him in. This is Obama's State Department.
Wow.
We don't know who granted him a visa, but I do remember in Russian roulette reading all the time that Hillary Clinton was always bugged by Lavrov to get his buddy Deripaska a visa to the United States, like a lot, like over and over again. And she was always like, FOH, fuck out of here. But I somehow he got one and he visited. He's visited twice now. We learned of this trip when his American lawyer revealed Deripaska was questioned by the FBI in September of 2016. We learned,
in person.
Yeah. We learned that the GOP took $7.5 million in donations from a Russian oligarch named Blavatnik. The super PACs for Trump, McConnell, Rubio, Scott Walker, Lindsey Graham, John Kasich, and John McCain accepted money from the Ukrainian-born Putin-tied oligarch. Blavatnik owns a big part of Rusal. That's the giant aluminum company partly owned by, you guessed it, Oleg Deripaska. It's the same aluminum company that Trump aides are negotiating the sell-off of Deripaska's shares in exchange for an easing on sanctions. So, interesting dot.
That was the worst list I've ever heard.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
The Daily Mail reported this week that Michael Cohen asked a Qatari investor, Al Rumehi, for $1 million, which he said he would pass on to Trump during that December meeting that Avenatti posted photos of. Remember that whole thing?
Right,
We did a short reporting on those photos at the beginning of the week. The Qataris have confirmed that they were at the meeting. Since we reported on that. And we also learned that Ice Cube is tied into this story.
Wait, not Black Cube? Not Black Ice Cube?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Not Black Cube, but Ice Cube. But he is a black guy. Ice Cube and his business partner are suing Al Rumehi for $1.2 billion for failing to fund a new basketball league they were trying to start up.
Whoa.
In a court filing, Ice Cube's partner said Al Rumehi asked him to tell Steve Bannon that the Qataris would fund him since the Mercers had pulled all their money out of Breitbart after Trump and Bannon broke up. Remember that
Yeah.
thing? Ice Cube's partner refused. He's like, fuck out of here. That's my thing today. And Al Rumehi said, everyone does it. You think Flynn turned our money down? You think Flynn turned our money down?
They told Ice Cube that?
They told Ice Cube's partner that.
Okay.
So in summary, on a nice hike. So in summary, the Steele dossier claimed that there was a plan to sell 19% of Rosneft off to generate a commission to pay Trump to lift Obama's sanctions, right? That's the Steele dossier. December 1, Cush and Flynn tried to set up a back channel to Russia. 6 days later, Qatar and Glencore buy 19% of Rosneft. 5 days later, Qatar shows up at Trump Tower. 1 month later, the dossier comes out fingering the Rosneft sale as a Trump quid pro quo. So it's obvious to Qatar that they're the middleman for Russia to get this Rosneft money to Trump. Then you've got Qatar telling Ice Cube's business partner he bribed Trump through Flynn. Then there's a Gulf crisis in April between Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar, and Kushner escalated it. Then 7 months later, there's a magical $184 million loan from Qatar to Kushner. Do you guys remember when Kushner met with the guys from Citigroup and Apollo?
Yeah.
At the White House
For the 666.
and he got those two loans for $184 million. And one of them is backed by Qatari money. So the only thing I wonder about is, first of all, why Qatar is trying to buy Bannon's love after Trump dumped him. Maybe they're just hedging their bets.
Yeah.
And how does that all fit into the Marshall Plan, the sale of nuclear reactors to Saudi Arabia? This whole thing is insane, but chalk up another W for Avenatti. He has not been wrong yet.
Honestly, that's why I love him.
He's
consistent.
A little douchey.
I was going to say, a lot of our followers have been commenting on what an insufferable douchebag he is.
That's very true. Yeah.
But
a lot of them agree with you.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
He is walking the talk, though.
He is.
He's not like a Giuliani full of hot air. Like, the things he's saying are coming to fruition.
He walks it like he talks it, like that Migos song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he has something to back it up, which is fine.
For once, you've mentioned something that I don't know what reference you're talking about.
Oh,
I
you
actually
would
have
love
never
them.
listened to them either.
Oh, they are better than coffee every morning. I'll get you guys on it. Don't worry.
The drink?
Like they wake me up in the morning. They're a
okay.
group.
I was gonna say, I don't know that they're better than coffee.
I will say, though, with Avenatti, again, zero issues with what he's doing. He's doing great things.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I'm
his
just
method,
saying,
you think,
if I
is-
had to pick like a father figure, it wouldn't be him. you
Yeah,
know?
sometimes I
Yeah.
wonder how he speaks to Stormy. I'm like, are you okay?
He'd be the porn star I would need to pay off. Wednesday, we got an update on the letter to Congress that they wrote to try to obtain emails between Mashburn and Dearborn that mentioned Papadopoulos. I remember when they had like the beginning of the word, like to look for any misspellings. Jordan, you're going to talk later about that.
Yes.
Then we got breaking news that the Senate Intelligence Committee is breaking with the House Intelligence Committee and Nunes by supporting the intelligence community's assessment that Russia interfered in our elections to help Trump and hurt Hillary. These are Republicans that chair this committee. Republicans chair all the committees right now because they're the majority. Republican Richard Burr, who was reportedly pressured by Trump and junior senators at Trump's behest to drop the Russia investigation, said, quote, "We see no reason to dispute the conclusions of the intelligence community." This is really significant because it isolates House Republicans as the only group covering for the president now.
Hell yeah. Fuck you, Nunes.
Isolate him.
The Senate is putting the screws to the House in a lot of ways, not just this way. The Senate, for example, passed a bill to stop the rollback of Obama-era net neutrality protections. Now the House will have to go on record as voting against it during election season.
Nice.
They're also likely going to make them vote on DACA. And legislation to protect special counsel. So the House will have to go on the record against net neutrality, against DACA, and against Mueller and the entire Russia investigation right before we all decide if they get to keep their jobs.
They're going to seal their fate is what they're going to do.
Yeah, they call it a dog and pony vote.
Yeah, they'll be cornered.
But it's you know...
Dog and pony? Why do they call it that?
Because they're making them vote on something they know they'll vote no on, just so they can get them on the record as voting no. Right before the election, so that you can generate, he voted no on Dreamers, he voted no on net neutrality.
Ponies used to vote? I'm guessing that's the origin of that.
No. No.
Yeah, I'm just having trouble understanding the animal connection.
It's probably one of those like random ones that...
You ever heard the phrase a dog and pony show?
No.
I heard, but I never knew what it meant.
Oh, it means just like a hoopla, much ado about nothing.
Ooh.
It's like a kangaroo court. It's
I would
for show.
love a dog and pony show, though.
It's for
just
show.
silly.
Yes,
How cool would that be? Oh, it is silly.
It's like a pomp and circumstance. Like you're just being over dramatic.
There
here.
you go. Yeah, yeah,
good to know.
nice.
Dog and pony show.
Thank you. Yeah, we learned something.
Oh, I didn't know that was a Generation X phrase.
I guess so. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Tweet at me at Mueller She Wrote. Have you heard Dog and Pony Show? Let me know.
We have cray cray.
Yeah,
we have that too.
I'm more of like a ping pong show in Vietnam kind of culture
okay.
person.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah,
those are the shows. Like we don't know of any variety shows that aren't just complete debauchery.
The Gong Show.
Oh, I've heard of that. Never seen it.
Yeah, there's never like literally a dog and pony show on television or something that it's a reference to. It's just a thing.
Also, sorry, can I correct myself? It's definitely not Vietnam.
No, you're right. It's probably Thailand.
Yeah, it is definitely Thailand. I'm really sorry.
Where our friend
my head was in
Nastia,
Vietnam. I've been watching a lot of documentaries this week.
Where our
Please
friend
forgive me.
Nastia Rybka is a sex coach.
Yes.
But now in prison.
Yes, exactly.
The New York Times published a piece breaking all sorts of news on the Mueller investigation and its origins on Wednesday. And I'll be going over that a little bit later in the show.
Nice.
Also Wednesday, Trump disclosed that he did pay Cohen back for Stormy Daniels. Something between $100,000 and $250,000, just small window. Immediately after he filed this declaration, the Office of Government Ethics made a criminal referral on the matter to the Department of Justice, saying, hey, this might help you out in that thing that you've been investigating, indicating that the FBI may have been investigating this payment disclosure or non-disclosure possibly since 2017 when he first was supposed to declare it.
Oh, snap.
Yep. We also found out how Avenatti got Cohen's bank documents. Remember how we were talking about all that? It was like, how'd he get them? How'd he get them?
What's the verdict?
Well, I had posited that he got in the dirt from SARS, which is the, not the disease, but
Discovery? Is that what
the
it is?
Russian oligarchs.
a suspicious activity report. Banks are required by the Treasury to file a suspicious activity report when they see weird shit going on in their bank accounts. And they upload these documents to the SinFen portal. That's a Treasury portal where tens of thousands of law enforcement officers have access to all of these SARs. It turns out Avenatti did get the information from a SAR, but not in Discovery. Remember, I thought it was in Discovery in the Stormy case. And somebody tweeted like, yeah, but that case has been stayed. And I'm like, maybe it was before. I don't know. He got it from a SAR, but where did it come from? Well, the leak came from a law enforcement officer. And we don't know who, but he or she was looking into the SinFen database expecting to find the 3 SARs in this case, and only one was there. 2 had been disappeared. 2 they'd been removed. Rachel Maddow said they'd gone walkies, which I think is my favorite new. They'd gone
cute.
walkies.
Yeah.
Because I take my dog for walkies.
They went rogue. Yeah.
they've been removed. And that has never happened in the history of the database. And this freaked out the law enforcement officer, so he leaked that one SAR that was still in there.
Right, well, he still could, yeah.
And he saw that the other two SARs, because he had seen those other two SARs before, and they total about $3 million. And the other two SARs are mentioned in the first SAR, so they definitely exist. That's a fact.
That's crazy.
But we have to keep in mind that the FBI, the DOJ, or Mueller may have sealed those SARs to prevent them from getting out to the public.
Okay.
My conjecture is that those SARs show two things. Payments to Russian bots. And a $1.6 million payoff to a pregnant Playboy playmate on behalf of Donald Trump, maybe?
Oh, perhaps.
The one they blamed Brody on? Because $1.6 million plus $775,000 plus a cut for Cohen comes out to about $3 million. There could also be payments to other countries for their cooperation, which we're going to talk about later on in the show. It might not be the $1.6 million payoff. That might be this other thing. So anyway, thanks to Jason Ward, by the way, from the Making Star Wars podcast for that song.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jason.
You can hear the whole thing on Spotify, and definitely check out their podcast. They're pretty amazing.
For sure.
Also on Wednesday never ended. Wednesday, the Senate Judiciary Committee, that's a different committee from the Senate Intelligence Committee that concluded this week that Russia interfered on behalf of Trump. Different committee. The Judiciary Committee they dumped about 2,500 pages of documents from their investigation. I've been poring over all of them. It's a lot of transcripts of interviews and emails and text messages and shit like that.
Right.
And the only thing that came out that we haven't really already talked about on this show is that Rob Goldstone, in an email to Emin Agalarov, that's the singer, kid, Azerbaijani.
That's right.
From the 2013 Miss Universe.
Yep.
Goldstone. Emin Agalarov. Goldstone said he'd been interviewed by federal attorneys twice about this June Trump Tower meeting, and it's putting Donald Trump Jr. in a bad place. But Mueller didn't know about the Trump Tower meeting until it was reported in the New York Times 11 days after Goldstone sent this email to Agalarov. Which could mean Mueller actually knew before the New York Times broke the story. Otherwise, what federal attorneys were interviewing Goldstone?
Yeah.
There also in these documents, there's another mention of the block number that Donald Trump Jr. spent 11 minutes speaking with on the phone right after the June 2016 Trump Tower meeting. But we still don't have answers about who he was speaking to, though I'm sure Mueller knows. And that he hasn't called DT Jr. in yet. That makes me suspect he's a target.
Oh, yeah.
I would err on Mueller having already known.
Yeah, I think he's already got that. That's a pretty easy phone dump for him.
Yeah.
While we can only ask him, although I'm not sure why Senate Intelligence, Senate Judiciary, I know why House Intelligence didn't, but why haven't these guys subpoenaed these call records to get, or spoken to the phone company to get that proof?
Keeping them from the public sounds like the most likely situation there.
Yeah, or they just didn't do it.
When you say dump, you just mean release to the public?
No, I just mean they dump his phone so that they can look at the phone records.
Ah, got it.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Cool. Question. I'm sorry. I'm still unclear on this. When the Senate or any House or Senate Intelligence or Judiciary Committees, if they discover any documents, at what point can those be released to the public? Is that just on a rolling basis? They're deciding what is okay to be obtained by anyone that inquires about it by some sort of freedom of...
Well, it's usually up to the chair, unless you have a wily Dianne Feinstein who wants to circumvent the chair and release transcripts, which she's done. And apparently that's not illegal because they haven't gotten her in trouble. I think basically what you probably have to do to release documents to the public is to clear it with the FBI and DOJ to make sure that any sources and methods are redacted and that you're not giving up any classified information. And then if you're a senator and you chair or you're co-chair, it seems like you can just release them.
That's cool.
You want to have the kind of the partnership with your co-chair to release them together because that's just going to make your political it's going to make your political life easier later on too.
Yeah.
But I think she's like, don't care.
Yeah, for sure.
And did at that time.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not going anywhere, man. California fucking loves me.
Yeah, you don't release documents to Congress unless you intend on, or it's okay understanding that they could be released to the public.
Okay, cool.
Otherwise, if it's classified information, they bring you in the room, and either they won't let you see it, or they let you see it for political reasons and bring you in a room and lock you in there and say you can't have your staffers with you, and it's all top secret and you have to read it or not.
Right.
Nunes.
Yeah, I was gonna say hashtag Nunes doesn't read.
Nope. All right, we can move on to Thursday, finally.
Yes.
Mueller submitted the fully unredacted version of the Rosenstein memo outlining the scope of the investigation to the court. Judge Ellis demanded this memo in a hearing last week, and this is also the memo that Nunes is jonesing to not read, I guess.
No. I just can't read. You gotta be kidding me.
Also Thursday, the Mueller investigation got a brand new guilty plea and a brand new cooperating witness, you guys. This kind of news sort of went under the radar, and I don't know if you know this or not, but we have another cooperating witness. We have somebody flipped.
Yeah, that slipped through the cracks, yeah.
It's Manafort's former son-in-law.
Oh, right. Oh,
he used to be in business with him, okay? Jeffrey Yohei has pleaded guilty to federal criminal charges in California in January. This is one of the sealed indictments that's been on the docket since January. He pled guilty to bank fraud and conspiracy. Basically, he and Manafort got a shit ton of loans by lying to banks about real estate construction and got all this money. This is back when when Manafort was trying to get all that money after he lost his Ukraine job because he owed Deripaska $18 million. So he was going nuts trying to get loans everywhere. And then eventually he got the job with Donald Trump. So we didn't have to think this.
Yeah.
But this guy flipped. And he's been there the whole time.
Hell
so
yes. Knows so much.
Manafort is super fucked. That was a little off key. We've done better, but
we have. But that was our first try.
You get the
and we just committed.
No, we did one like 20 minutes ago.
I know. I just mean just then.
Oh yeah, that was our first try.
Our patron Kevin Burns broke that story to me actually as soon as that came out.
Oh nice!
We have
Shout
such
out to
involved,
Kevin.
knowledgeable, patrons.
Oh, the Manafort one.
Mr. Burns.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The son-in-law.
Yes.
Let's see here.
Everyone is guilty. Holy shit! That fucking family.
Yeah, I mean, like mobs usually run in like families. They're usually the whole community. So
yeah,
I'm not surprised.
It takes a village.
Yeah,
to destroy a democracy. Michael Cohen's Korean translator for his Korean aerospace deal, and the owner of Demeter Direct, the beneficiary of a bunch of payments from Cohen's First Republic slush fund, has been interviewed by the FBI. And when I say this, basically, when Avenatti released his 7-page document with all these funds going back and forth, Korean Aerospace was one of the companies, and they noticed payments out to Demeter Direct.
Okay.
Well, apparently there's a Korean translator at Demeter Direct named Mark Ko. He was the guy who did the deal, because if you remember, Korean Aerospace said, we never dealt directly with Cohen.
Yeah.
They dealt with this guy at Demeter Direct.
Wow.
So anyway, he was interviewed by the FBI, and he said, quote, they seem to know everything.
That's what everyone keeps saying. There hasn't been a single person. It's like, Mueller doesn't know what he's talking about.
He doesn't bring you in to ask you questions he doesn't have the answers
Exactly.
to. Sure. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Another Roger Stone aide was subpoenaed later in the week, bringing the count to 2 just this week. But neither the FBI or the Mueller investigation has reached out to Stone himself, indicating Stone is a target. So,
oh yeah, he's gonna be scared.
Keep your eyes out for a Stone indictment soon.
Yeah, and for his next Instagram video.
His next tattoo.
Gross.
Oh God. Judge Mueller's face on his ass.
No. Judge Ellis postponed the Manafort hearing about his motion to dismiss the charges. He asked for 2 more weeks. This is probably to give himself more time to review the new fully unredacted memo filed by Mueller this week. Everyone's like, 2 weeks? What do you need 2 weeks for? They're worried he's not going to dismiss these charges, but I put some beans on it. He's going to. The House GOP and Trump continued Thursday to push for the release of the identity of the FBI informant that spoke to Papadopoulos and Page during the 2016 campaign that the New York Times reported on earlier in the week. In response, the FBI has been forced to put, quote, emergency security measures in place to protect the safety of the informant in the likely event his identity is revealed. And without fail, Friday, the Daily Caller identified the informant as Stefan Halper, a U.S. citizen teaching at Cambridge. We'll be doing an entire bonus episode on the battle between Nunes and the DOJ, so check that out if you're a patron.
I can't. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's crazy going through college and now just looking back, imagining how many of my professors were involved in international crimes.
Oh, you went to Cambridge? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
No,
wait,
totally, dude.
yeah.
Like, they're probably everywhere.
Then something extraordinary happened on Friday. This is crazy. We learned that Trump has been pushing the Postmaster General to raise shipping costs for Amazon. So what does this have to do with Mueller and Russia, you say? Well, Amazon is owned by Jeff Bezos, who also owns the Washington Post. And it's well known that Trump hates the Washington Post for all of its reporting on the Mueller investigation.
Having like an accent.
I don't know where that accent came from.
It's like a Washington Post accent.
From all of its reporting on the Mueller investigation. Using federal government agencies to punish political enemies is a blatant abuse of power, you guys. It was the basis for one of Nixon's articles of impeachment. When he, remember? No, you don't. But I didn't either, so don't worry about it. But when he used the IRS to target the tax returns of his political enemies. Like he wanted the taxes audited for every single Democrat running for re-election. That's using your government. They said use the government machinery to fuck with them or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's crazy that he's doing this. That is an impeachable offense.
Totally.
For
Add
sure.
that to the pile.
Yeah, right?
I hope Amazon hand delivers his indictment in less than 2 days shipping.
Oh my gosh, that's good.
It's a prime indictment. We'll waive your membership fee. You're wanted in court.
I love it.
That would be so great. All right, you guys, we need to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hello, thanks for listening to Mueller, She Wrote. I'm talking to you because we could really use your help. There's a lot of costs associated with creating a podcast. There's editing, sound equipment, writing and research, hosting, shipping, merch, branding, web design, consulting, IT, and I'm not too proud to ask you for your support. Our patrons are the single source of revenue to cover these costs, and to be totally transparent, we're still in the red. And that's where you come in. By becoming a patron, you not only support our efforts, but you support women in podcasting and women in media. And the best part is that it's not a one-way street. In return for your pledge, you get access to our bonus content and ad-free episodes. You'll receive our weekly newsletter and our MSW book club, and you'll get all sorts of great rewards like t-shirts, stickers, reusable totes made from 100% recycled materials, and even our limited edition loose-leaf polonium tea from Russia with Love, created just for us by our friends at joysteaspoon.com. So please help us out and head over to MuellerSheWrote.com and subscribe today. You'll be glad you did. All right, welcome back. Hot notes. Today, Jordan is going to go over some new Mashburn and Dearborn news, some new Mumford & Sons news. I'm just gonna call them Mumford & Sons from now on.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
fine
down
with you
with
guys.
that.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe the Dave Matthews Band could be somebody else. I don't know. And Jaleesa has an update on Mifsud and Mueller and what they're doing. So Jaleesa, how about you kick it off for us? Is that cool?
Absolutely. So we have a lovely article from The Atlantic that was written by a special fan of the pod and one of your heroes, right, AG?
Natasha Bertrand.
Yeah. So this one is called Mueller's probe is even more expansive than it seems. And that's what she said. So, sorry.
Somebody commented and said it can't cost that much. And it's expansive, not expensive.
Nice. So Bertrand discussed in this piece how Mueller's team has not only interviewed a bunch of big name people, but also more obscure names that pretty much no one's heard of. And these are the people that Natasha suspects tell an even more interesting story. So recently, we learned that the FBI agents working for Mueller allegedly detained a lawyer with ties to Russia who is closely associated with Joseph Mifsud. So we all remember Mifsud, right? The deadbeat baby daddy.
Yeah, deadbeat baby daddy.
Totally. So we learned about Mifsud's connection to this detained lawyer through a book co-written by that very same lawyer, Stephen Rowe, right? It's an interesting name, Rowe. Mm-hmm. So he's a German millionaire with clear ties to Russia. He hired Mifsud as a, quote, business development consultant in 2015. Sounds a lot like Essential Consultants, right? The total fake name.
It's fucking essential.
Right? So also according to Papadop's wife, Papadop was Mifsud's partner, best friend, and the money behind him. So, and she also worked for Mifsud, so she might know what she's talking about.
Jeez.
Yeah. And fun fact, Roe's wife, Olga, is a Russian fashion designer who appeared on a British reality TV show called Meet the Russians.
Oh my God.
It's not even that relevant, but it's so funny to me.
What would the theme song to that be like?
I want to see it. We should get that music. So Roe co-authored this.
Meet the Russians. I don't know.
It sounds so American.
Yeah, it does. Like
show tuning. Yeah.
Like a plucky couple of people living in the same apartment who have different personalities.
I would totally watch that.
Yeah.
I love it. So
it's called Friends.
With benefits.
Yeah, that's good. So Roe co-authored this book, and it's called The Faking of Russiagate, the Papadopoulos Case. So it's pretty ridiculous, but it does shed a new light on the expansive nature of Mueller's investigation. It also highlights Mueller's interest in one of the probe's biggest questions: what did the campaign know and when did they know it? So here's what we know right now. Roe and his co-author, also who knows Mifsud, they wrote in the book that upon arriving in New York with his family in October 2017, one of the co-authors was fished from the passport control line at JF Kennedy Airport while his family was retained with armed police force. He says he was interrogated for hours, and a team from special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation pretty much they observed, followed, taped, and spied on their family, they said. And they even said the family was assigned to a special room at the hotel while security
What a kooky
personnel.
sitcom.
Yeah, it's like, it gets really weird even as I'm reading it again.
That's just like a Three's Company.
Yeah.
It got written, like it's written all over it.
Totally.
Yeah, it's dark.
And it's all in the book. So the book outlines how Roe intersected with Mifsud at two institutions. The first was the London Academy of Diplomacy and Link Campus University, a private institution in Rome that Roe co-owns, and that's where Mifsud taught briefly. Secondly, in April 2016, Mifsud and Roe spoke on a panel together at the Kremlin-backed Valdai Club, a think tank that is close to Vladimir Putin and hosts him every year for a keynote address. So the club is also described in the book as, quote, one of the most influential Russian think tanks in Moscow, maybe even the most prestigious. So that's just where they hung out. And even though it's unclear whether Roe was actually surveilled after being interviewed, the book further alleges that Mifsud is not a Russian spy, but is actually, quote, deeply embedded in the network of Western intelligence services. So they're saying that he and Papadop are Western intelligence operatives who were placed in the Trump campaign by the FBI. And it's not the first conspiracy theory that said this. There was actually a book by Ted Malek last year that was called The Plot to Destroy Trump, How the Deep State Fabricated the Russian Dossier to Subvert the President. That's a long title.
That is way too long. Gonna lose interest with your base.
That's a bit much. But obviously,
yeah, you're not speaking to readers. Really. Let's keep it short and sweet.
Yeah. So obviously, some of these people are just they're capitalizing.
Trump good, Hillary cheated. It's like 7 pages.
Trump good, Hillary ugly.
I think they know better.
It's a pop-up book.
She's
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah, a coloring book.
Yeah, a pop-up book. Oh my God, that's so funny.
That's great. So obviously some of these people are just capitalizing on the controversy itself, but it is a commonly believed theory amongst Trump supporters that covert intelligence activity connected to the Trump campaign was not Russian, but Western. So even though Papadopoulos was indicted in October for lying to federal agents about his contact with Mifsud and is now cooperating with Mueller, some Trump supporters are just like, whatever.
Oh, that was just off a show?
Yeah.
He worked for the FBI, but we arrested him?
Exactly. They'll believe whatever they want. But the latest on Mifsud is that he's gone AWOL. So we talked about this last time, but the update is that, he's virtually
been missing.
Disappeared ever since his name was made public last year. And in the book, Roe and Pastor, the co-authors, say that they last spoke to Mifsud by phone on January 13th this year, 2018. And Mifsud told them that he had been set up, according to the authors, and he called Papadopoulos an agent provocateur, and Mifsud had gone into hiding per recommendation of the Italian Secret Service, and since then he's been requested to hide, not to communicate, and not to speak to the press. He's been, quote, put away and threatened to stay quiet. So that's just the creepy ending that article left on.
So the Italians
suggested to Mifsud that
put him in hiding.
Yeah, well, they probably did take care of it. They probably made it seem like he had a choice, but he really didn't.
But the Italians would work with us on that. That's weird.
That is weird.
Natasha, what's up? You got to call
the
in,
name
man.
of that. I wish I would have wrote it down. There's a name of that specific service too. I just paraphrased to the Italian Secret Service, but the whole organization. We can look more into them, maybe.
Well, I'm sure it's government.
Yeah. I just wonder. I wonder too, like why.
I mean, we had a falling out in World War II, but we're friends again.
Yeah. So they're helping him.
Yeah.
And that could be a good thing then, right? That they're hiding him. That could be actually for the sake of.
Not if he's saying that he was set up.
Yeah, maybe set up by someone else though.
He's saying he's set up by Papadopoulos.
Oh, that's right.
He's trying to say that Papadopoulos is a Western
intelligence operative. Yeah, so it is pretty.
At least that's what it sounds like to me. I'd have to read the article more closely.
They tranquilized him and threw him in a car for his own good, and they're like, just be quiet.
Yeah, but he's one of the bad guys.
I know he's the bad guy, but you said the Italian Secret Service is an ally of ours, right?
Yeah, so why are they hiding a bad guy from us?
They might have grabbed him for us. They're like, we'll take care of this. We'll just keep him quiet. I know, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but we would have talked to him. We would have them
You're right.
Extradite
this is
him.
all very confusing.
It's very weird.
Yeah, but I guess we'll find out.
We're going to need, Natasha, we're going to need you to call in next week.
Yes.
It's our season premiere. We've got a lot of great call-ins. Yeah, tell us what's happening. We would be forever grateful. You are my hero. One of them for sure.
We need more info on that one for sure.
We definitely do.
But great article, honestly. Like it was entertaining.
The Atlantic's amazing. She's an incredible writer. So
definitely.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan, what do you have for us on Mumford & Sons?
Yeah, so Mumford & Sons, a.k.a. Mashburn and Dearborn. This is really just relating to Mashburn now. This is kind of a short update. I think what'll be interesting is a little baby conversation we can have, discussion about what it means exactly.
Yeah.
But basically, so Mashburn testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee, and he has repeatedly told them that he recalled receiving a message with some detail about Russian information on Hillary Clinton, and that the other campaign officials almost certainly would have been copied on this memo. So this is why this is so important, basically, is because this is the point, just talking about, who knew what and when they knew it. He's referencing the time when Papadopoulos had sent an email to him about Russia having dirt on Hillary Clinton. So essentially, this is the origination of the campaign learning of the efforts to undermine her campaign.
Right, and he's a recipient of the email, and he testifies to the Senate. I remember getting it.
Yep.
Papadopoulos was in there, and I remember Feinstein and somebody else writing a letter. It might have been Blumenthal, I can't remember.
That's right, yeah.
Writing a letter saying, you need to search your emails again. We didn't get this email. We know it exists because this guy, Mashburn, tells us it's real, and he's the one who got it. So maybe don't search for the correct spelling of Papadopoulos. Look for Papadoppa or something like that.
Yep.
Anything beginning with Papadop. And they still haven't found it.
And so not only can they not find it, Mashburn can't, literally nobody can find it. The Senate can't find it, House can't find it, FBI can't find it, like Mueller can't find it. No one.
Does it say Mueller doesn't have it specifically?
Yes, it does. Wow. Yeah, it's in the article, at least that I was reading.
Okay,
that is trippy.
It's weird that they know what he doesn't have.
Yeah, but also maybe
how they know that.
He probably
let me
wants
find
us
out
to know
how
certain things.
Let me find out how they worded it. The special counsel quote. This, and also, just so y'all know, this is a New York Times article titled "Tantalizing Testimony from a Top Trump Aide Sets Off a Search for Proof." And I quote, "The special counsel, Robert S. Mueller III, was also searching for similar emails, according to a person familiar with a request for documents that his investigator sent to the Trump campaign. The campaign, which has examined its emails and other documents, also cannot find the message, and officials do not believe it exists." So, I'm sorry, Robert Mueller did not specifically say, we can't find it, but he asked them to produce it, and they can't.
Oh.
Right.
That could be different then, all right.
Yeah, because Mueller might have it. Trump didn't produce it.
That's very true.
Papadopoulos didn't produce it. That means it could have been destroyed.
Yes.
In which case,
which is what it begs, I think.
Yeah.
Is that
in which
question.
case, you are that's obstruction of justice.
Right.
Yes.
Would it be possible that Mueller has it before it was destroyed, and then okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think,
or he could have found it like. You know how you delete an email, but it's never really deleted? He might have been able to find it super secret.
Yeah.
Or might have been able to pull it off of a phone image from somebody.
Totally. Yeah.
It would make sense. I mean, Mueller's been on top of this more so than any of those other, groupings of people that I just listed off. So it would make sense that if anyone was going to get it before they would try to put it under the rug, it would be Mueller's team.
So we have two options here. Either it exists and Mueller has it and nobody else does, and nobody else is handing it over because it was destroyed, or two, the email never existed and this guy on Trump's side is lying about having gotten it.
Right.
To save his own butt or something, you think?
Or to make it up. I mean, what I'm saying is if it never existed in the first place, why would this guy testify?
That's what I'm wondering,
These are our only two options.
Right.
It exists or it doesn't.
Yeah,
There's
it's
no
more
third.
likely that it exists, for sure.
Well,
it seems more likely, at least.
It would be weird if it didn't.
Yes,
Right,
it would
you'd
be.
lie.
And
Yeah.
if he lied about it existing, this would be the first instance that I can remember of someone lying about evidence that would hurt the Trump campaign.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened yet at all.
And him.
Right.
I mean, I guess not if you're cooperating and you aren't lying about it.
But it won't look good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think also what's interesting to note is once the committee went through, tried to find it the first time, couldn't find it, they tried changing the name, switch up, search for
different
anything.
spellings.
Yeah, exactly. Try, because his name apparently is hard for people to spell.
Papadopoulos. Yeah.
It's kind of problematic, but whatever. And then it's like, you're in fucking.
It's a tough one.
It's true. It is.
P-A-D-O-P-O-U-L-O-U-L-O-S.
Yeah, that is true. Also, yeah, I guess they could have intentionally misspelled it or something to try to circumvent.
if they're that
basic
smart,
people
they
that
might
can't-
be.
Yeah.
You
Well,
never
if it's in
know.
a to subject or a from subject subject line, or not subject line, but to,
Right.
from, or subject
Field,
line.
yeah.
If it's to or from, it's going to be automatically spelled the way it's spelled
For
because
sure.
that's going to be the correct spelling.
Exactly.
But if it's in a subject line, or if it's, I mean, I don't understand this, because if it was forwarded to him or if it was from him, then it would be searched under the proper spelling of his name.
Yes.
This indicates to me that the email has been destroyed.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that's conjecture, but I'm right.
Yeah.
Because why would this dude say, incriminate himself and incriminate the Trump campaign as a Trump aide and say, he sent me this stuff, I know that the email's there, when it didn't exist?
Yeah, I think the press is also doing a really good job of restraining themselves and not asserting that, which seems to be the elephant in the room. It's like, all right, well then where
But we're
is
the
this?
podcast with the swears. And so
Exactly.
we can conjecture.
Yeah,
to
no,
that
for sure.
elephant.
But it's we can talk to the
Let's call in,
elephant.
yeah.
Call me Eliza Thornberry.
Oh, dude,
the
shout out.
millennials.
Nice.
Wild Thorn. We all agree on we all know what the Wild Thorn.
We
That's
do,
the first,
yeah.
right? That we all get on top of that, kind of.
Yeah.
Nice.
You guys, we all three got a reference at the
Oh
same
my
Yeah.
God! Yes.
Happy 1 year Mueller anniversary, you guys.
Love it.
Seriously, cheers.
Yeah,
because I mean that's fantastic.
But
fantastic.
that really is. But what was interesting is that they gave him an opportunity to adjust his testimony about this specifically, because they went and they tried to find it and they couldn't. And he comes in and he's like, nope. Same thing.
Yeah,
I'm
and
telling you,
he said
I
it over
swear
and
I saw
over
it.
again.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, I saw it, and the other campaign aides and officials had to have been copied on it. There's no way they would not have been copied on it.
There is a third possibility that he falsely remembers getting this email.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a huge false remember
Yeah.
to
I'm
stick
just saying,
to.
that's a third possibility.
You're right.
Yeah,
To be
it is
fair
totally
about it.
possible.
It's
That would
odd
just
to
be
falsely
shitty.
remember something that would incriminate your side, but
Totally.
unless he's
Yeah.
secretly out to get Trump, maybe he's part of the deep state.
We should take a poll. We should say, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, tweet at us at Mueller She Wrote.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
Someone, the article that I read reports that when he was in there testifying, he went out and got an ice cream sandwich, and he was just
That's
snacking on it.
adorable.
Ice cream sandwiches are bomb.
That's so
They
cute.
are.
I love
In the
ice-
middle
they
of
are. I love
court.
ice cream sandwiches.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Good old fashioned ice cream sandwiches, except when they stick to your finger, the stuff, but then you get to lick it off. It's fantastic.
I would
That's
believe
so
anything
good.
someone said while they were eating an ice cream sandwich.
Even the
Yeah, it's like,
downsides
this
or
guy's
upsides.
innocent as fuck.
Totally.
Yeah.
Jeez. All right. Lay off Mumford and Sons.
Yeah.
WTF. Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jordan.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good reporting. I am going to cover the new reporting from this week's New York Times article on Crossfire Hurricane. That's the code name the CIA gave the early investigation into Russia helping Trump. We have a whole bonus episode this week for patrons on the CIA naming conventions for stuff like that. So check that out. There's
excited
some
about
funny
that.
stuff in there. And here's some, remember they called bin Laden Geronimo. I actually met the SEAL who killed bin Laden.
No way.
Wow.
Is he from San Diego? He's one of those guys?
Well, I mean, all SEALs come out of San Diego at
There we
some
go,
point,
yeah.
but I don't remember exactly
An
where
article
he's
just came
from.
out about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool dude. Older fella.
Really?
Late 30s.
Nice.
Very experienced operative. Yeah, he's the one who got to say Geronimo.
Damn.
Wow.
Anyway, I hope that doesn't give away what my job is.
No, I wouldn't have guessed that.
I'm not a
There's
SEAL.
so many
all.
branches.
Oh,
that
you are a
branch
SEAL.
out.
I'm
Throw
not
him
a
off.
SEAL. No.
Yeah, she's a Navy SEAL.
No, totally not.
She's an
even.
actual SEAL.
Who have you killed?
To be
You're
a
a baby
SEAL.
SEAL.
I know the 5-point palm exploding heart technique. So.
Ooh.
No, that's
Kill
is that
Bill?
a reference you get? You got it.
Yeah, nice.
High five.
There we
All
go.
right.
I was
Sorry
gonna say
for the
Zoolander.
background noise. We high five. We actually high fived.
Yes.
Anyway, there's a lot of stuff that came out in this report. Like the New York Times does this thing. So does Washington Post. They'll release a story and they'll be like, "There's a guy named John," is the name of the story. But then there's like 18 different crazy new stories that drop, like bombshell reports that drop in the story. This one had quite a few. So here's some of the things that we found out. First, we found out that the FBI scrambled to open an investigation into Trump at the end of July. July 31st, 2016, because Australia called, ring-a-ding, and said, hey, guy named Papadopoulos mouthing off in a British pub. Alexander Downer was the Australian diplomat who was in that London pub.
Right.
I hope it wasn't Ye Old Kushner's pub.
Oh, my goodness.
Or was
The
it
worst pub ever.
Was it?
Yeah.
Kushner?
Ye Old
Kushner. You got it. Yeah.
The Ye Old Kushner.
We got to get some merch going. Oh,
Ye
then we'll
Olde
owe him
Kushner
money.
pub? Yeah, fuck
He'll
that
take
guy.
it too.
Let's call him Kush.
Kush, yeah.
Don't drink anything. It's all poison.
And don't smoke them either.
So they got this call from Australia and said, yeah, there's a drunk guy mouthing off that this guy named Mifsud told him about Hillary Clinton emails and he's going to win the whole Trump presidency. He's going to be the chief of staff or whatever. He's, bragging, drunk brag. So
The worst kind.
Seriously. It is. He had administration goggles. Cabinet goggles. There we go.
Yeah.
Until now, we didn't know that the FBI had traveled to the UK within hours of opening the investigation and interviewed Alex Downer within hours, August 2nd. Before August 2nd, because the July 31st was when the investigation was open, and then boom, they went to interview him.
Damn what?
Directly. So there is now documentary evidence of what started the Trump-Russia investigation. So Nunes
I
can
was just
suck
going
it.
to say, is that the first scene of the movie? Because this is probably going to be a Netflix series. There's just too much.
yeah.
That is the first scene of the movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's gotta be.
unless you go
40.
back, we could probably do a Memento thing where we start and do in different time orders, like a Pulp Fiction-y sort of a situation, where you start with that Papadopoulos drunk brag, but then you flash back to the Miss Universe pageant.
Totally.
And then maybe you could even go back further, because, I mean, they were recording for 5 or 8 years
we
or whatever.
should make this movie if no one else does.
Artistically, I feel like I might prefer an opening scene of Trump sitting in a prison cell and it panning out.
That's
and then going backwards from there.
That's like fan fiction, though.
That'd be great. Yeah. Or maybe Roger Stone's prison wife.
Yeah.
Getting to meet Nixon's tattoo face to face.
There you go. Yeah.
That's
You know
such
he
a-
got it for a reason.
Trigger warning. Sorry.
Yes,
That was a comedian, not news. All right.
There we go.
Yes, we have to label it.
Sorry.
Putting her journalist hat back on.
If you want to talk, tweet at me. It's fine.
Yeah. Same for anything we say.
Yeah.
Anyway, there is now documented evidence. That was Nunes' whole thing. You don't have any evidence that Papadopoulos started this. No evidence whatsoever. Well, now there is documented FBI interviews with Alexander Downer in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
When they talked about this.
It's crazy.
And that's what led to the... obviously, the report of it kicked off the investigation.
I see what you mean. Technically, it started it.
Well, they opened the investigation July 31st when they heard about it, when the Australians called. Then they went to interview him, and then the investigation continued.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they heard about it and then opened the investigation.
It was the first hands-on activity for the investigation.
Yeah. So another thing we found out in this article is that a handful of FBI agents in the know about Crossfire Hurricane actually rejected the idea of interviewing key witnesses for fear of leaking it out. So there were a handful of FBI agents. They didn't tell a lot of people about this investigation because it seemed so out of the ordinary and
even
odd.
now, but back then it must have been way worse.
So it was so out of the ordinary and weird that they were like, let's not, they wanted to interview some top Trump officials, but they declined, they didn't want to leak out. That's the opposite of a political investigation. That's definitely a criminal investigation.
Right.
They focused on 4 people in the early days, Page, Papadopoulos, Manafort, and Flynn. And that was because of, quote, their obvious Russian ties.
Exactly.
By mid-August 2016, they were solidly investigating by mid-August, so a couple weeks later.
I like to imagine them coming back from the plane in Russia, just all decked out in like Russian tourist things.
Yeah.
Just like
little handheld flags and some Russian nesting dolls.
Seriously.
The big furry ear flap hats.
I've been listening to
vodka.
Slow Burn, and I've noticed that they said the Watergate time was actually a pretty exciting time, even for people that were terrified by it, just like we were excited by the Mueller investigation. It's like, it's kind of a weird patriotic moment for the country if you choose
it's
the
history
side of
in the
justice.
making.
Yeah.
This is absolutely history. This is why I want you guys to find a way to keep my head alive.
Yeah, really.
John Beschloss had said that it takes 25 to 30 years for journalism to become history. For you to gain a historical view.
Yeah.
So I'll be 73.
Wow.
68 to 73.
Yeah. We'll still be smoking, hanging out. We'll smoking around you.
If I make it that long, I didn't think I'd make it past 30 when I was a kid. So
Whoa.
whatever. But top student. But yeah, no, I seriously find a way to keep my head alive.
Yes.
Download my consciousness, something.
hell yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll get with a
Definitely.
science faction podcast and make it happen.
I love it. Yes.
They're smart fellas. So that was a thing. So by mid-August 2016, they're in full investigation mode. We found out the FBI used national security letters to obtain phone records and documents in those early days. And national security letters, they're subpoenas, but they're secret subpoenas. Because when you subpoena somebody, it's public. So these are
private,
kept under wraps. So they were going
private
out
subpoenas. Sorry.
They were going out of their way to not leak this to the public. I believe that their main thing was Trump's going to lose. And if we come out with this investigation thing, it'll make it look like we made him lost.
Oh, my goodness.
We made him lose.
I think you
It
nailed
won't
that.
look like he lost by his own merit. And he'll have a legitimate argument that we lost the election for him.
It's like the thing Comey won't say.
So they kept it all inside.
That makes so much sense. I've been trying to wrap my head around why they would not just come out with that information.
And if this were all a political witch hunt, they would have released all this fucking information.
They had it the whole time.
Yes, they
The
were
bulk of
doing it.
Yeah.
And they released the Hillary information 11 days before the election. And they did that because they thought she was going to win.
Dude, we all thought. I don't blame them, but I wish Comey would just say the words.
Because if and he has said this, if I didn't come out with that and Hillary won the election, people would accuse her of having won falsely.
So he kind of hinted at it. I bet that's his main reason.
Well, that not only undermined the FBI, it also undermined her entire presidency.
Yeah.
Correct. It would delegitimize her presidency. And if they did it this way, where they had released all this, it got out they were investigating Trump and Hillary won, it would have delegitimized her presidency again.
Oh, they did make a tough call. They made the right call either way.
They did.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just a call of
There's no right call
justice.
in some of these terms. There's just no right call. But think about it, Hillary fans. If Hillary would have won,
right,
and they had come out and told you about the Trump investigation prior to the election, Hillary's victory would be tarnished.
Delegitimized. Yeah,
it could possibly be not that it is delegitimate, but it could be seen as
it could, and that's
it would
what,
have the appearance of. And appearance is 99% of the law.
You're totally right.
On the flip side, Trump is president and entirely illegitimate.
This is the better one. This is the better
known.
situation because we were already screwed from the moment they hacked us and Obama let it go and all these things. So this is the best case scenario for like how they could have handled. Well, not best case, but the
if you're trying to start a podcast, I guess.
Yeah. No, honestly, I wonder how we got here because I've been thinking about politics for years, and I'm just like,
you hadn't thought about that angle yet.
What, the Comey thing? No, the FBI. I've never crossed my mind.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah, it
makes
says
perfect
right here,
sense.
if they were sure Hillary would win and did not want the Trump investigation to delegitimize her election. We found out that Page could be a Russian spy because it appears that he told the Kremlin U.S. agents were warning him about being recruited. So you remember back in 2013, we've reported on this a few times. He was part of a spy ring.
Oh, yeah.
And they were trying to recruit him for this. And they were like, we basically tell him, we get the information and tell him to go fuck himself.
Exactly.
That was also in Russian roulette, right?
It was.
And I think I did it in that voice as well.
Yeah, you did. That's why I laughed because I
weird
remembered.
memory.
Yeah.
I don't remember where my car is or what I did last night.
Yeah, there's just random
I
triggers.
can remember that.
Nice.
So basically, he was told by the FBI back then, like, bro, they're trying to recruit you. Chill. And he went back to the Kremlin and told them that information. That makes him a Russian spy.
Wow.
Or
a
unless,
Russian asset. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Or unless he went back and was like, hey guys, am I a spy?
Or what's going on?
Do I get paid for that kind of a thing? Because if I'm going to tell you these things, I don't know why he sounds like the guy from Fargo to me. But
Yeah. Those crucial conversations, man.
It's that hat. Okay, then finally, the best part of this article, or maybe the worst. The FBI had a secret government informant that met several times with Page and Papadop. Trump and Giuliani latched onto this piece of reporting and claimed that the Obama FBI embedded a spy in my campaign and called it the biggest political scandal in history, and it's worse than Watergate. He said it's the biggest witch hunt of all time. And I have to say, I think that probably the actual witch hunt in Salem, Massachusetts was the biggest witch hunt of all time. It's where we got the phrase witch hunt.
I gotta say, I'm with you on that.
To begin with.
I think it might have been a little worse to be burned at the stake.
So I'm just going to go ahead and say the thing where we got the phrase from is probably the
might
thing.
actually, yeah.
So
literally.
Yeah.
Some for our fallen witches. I poured out a little wine.
Yeah, I love it for the homies.
Yeah, for the homies. My witch homies.
We probably would be called witches back in the day. We definitely would be called. I'm gay. I don't know if the black thing matters to them.
We're outspoken women.
There you go.
That's all you had to be.
That's all you need to be.
That's why it was a witch hunt. Anyway.
Sorry.
Shut up, Trump. Not you. Trump.
I don't know if the black thing matters.
Well, that's a whole different episode, I guess.
Yeah, that kind of, it does throw a wrench into it.
Yeah, was race a factor?
There were whole other hunts
I bet they're more
involving your
important.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
and that's good. I'm glad.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever... Oh, sorry. Just a fun fact.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Did you? It's about the witch hunt. Did you ever learn what may have caused people to start acting crazy? It was like a specific,
hookworm?
I thought they were hallucinogens.
It was called like ergot or something.
Was it a neuroparasitic thing? Or
yes, it was like growing in the wheat that they were eating.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it
did
was
you know that
producing all
the
the
dumbing
symptoms.
down of the American South is because of hookworm? I didn't know that. And leaded gasoline? I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
No, this is news to me right now.
And that is, by the way, I know I'm going to get emails.
I'm from the South, so a part of me wants to be like, no, AG, but no, I'm like, oh, it's kind of bad out there. Like the public school, everything is a little more behind.
I learned this in science, so it's not. I'm not trying to make a blanket.
It's not the
statement
people,
about.
it's the system. Like you're talking to the stats alone, not.
Well, implications on the people as a whole aside, I'm curious, what was it exactly?
Yeah.
Hookworm?
Hookworm.
This was a thing that was spreading rampant?
Yeah, it big in the South. It'll mess your brain up. Just kind of like these neuroparasitic ergot or whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
and if we don't acknowledge these things, it's more problematic. I know it sounds really problematic just saying it, but it's kind of a fact that we know in history that people in certain communities have been used as experiments or just dumbed down or harmed in some way.
There was Agent Orange in Vietnam.
Yeah, it's a
ate
public
lead
health
paint
crisis.
I ate lead paint as a child, so I got a little
facts. Unfortunately,
that's why I can't remember where my car is. It's just we all have our things.
For sure.
I please don't think I'm making blanket statements about.
No, that's just interesting.
Anything.
Facts.
Totally interesting. Yeah.
Anyway. Moving on. I probably just offended an entire half of the country.
Hey,
I didn't mean
take it
to.
out
That's
later
not-
if you want.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I don't want to edit it out. Well, it's science. I don't know. You know what?
I think it's great.
Only people that read into it are going to have an issue with it. All you're saying is that there's a phenomenon that happens in the South that fucks with people's brains, and that's it.
Well, it
That's
happened
it.
in the
That's all
Salem
you
witch
said.
trials too.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
I mean,
Your logic is solid, AG.
I don't know.
I appreciate you being overly sensitive though. That's really nice.
I don't like to paint with a broad brush like that.
Yeah, yeah. But this is cool. This
Obviously,
is
we're not saying people from the South are stupid. Obviously.
Even though I think we probably have said that before.
I think we have too. But it was a joke.
Right. We're comedians. It makes it hard.
It does. It's hard. It is hard
Toughest
being
part of the job.
like actual delivers of facts versus people that fabricate the truth to make a joke all the time. It's a weird line for us to walk.
Yeah, because I mean, there's these things that are considered stereotypes,
Right.
That jokes are based on, and that's what makes them funny. We all kind of have to
Totally.
come to a mental agreement on stuff.
That's my whole set right there. Stereotypes.
We have plenty for California. We could make fun of ourselves all day.
Yeah,
For
there's
sure.
white women stereotypes.
oh,
Every
God,
community
yes.
has them. To ignore them would be really weird. It'd be like a weird way to live.
It would make you not somebody who should
Aware.
go to a comedy show.
Yeah,
Yes.
It would make you a heckler.
That's
what
a
it
great
would
point.
be.
That is a great point.
Anyway, back to this. Trump and Giuliani latched onto this piece of reporting that there was an FBI government informant that met several times with Page and Papadopoulos. And Giuliani and Trump are claiming that the Obama FBI embedded the spy and called it the biggest political scandal. witch hunt, Watergate. First of all, it's astounding that Trump is willing to tell everyone that he's such a criminal piece of shit that it warranted an FBI plant to speak to people in his campaign. He's basically saying that. He's like, I had the FBI my whole house was crawling with him. That means you're probably something. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, if you're a bitch, you have to own it. Don't be mad that people hate you.
Exactly, and he's 72. He's probably never going to own it at this point.
That's true. Oh God,
but I know. It is important to note that this person, who has now been identified as Stefan Halper, is not a mole.
Yes, nice to mole you. Meet you. Nice to meet you, mole. Don't say mole.
Stop.
I said mole.
Stop.
He's an informant. He doesn't work for the FBI, but was recruited to speak to Page and Papadop after the FBI had sufficient evidence of criminal wrongdoing to warrant the use of an informant. That's how the reporting goes. He wasn't embedded in the campaign. This is a lot like when Trump accused Obama of wiretapping him. When actually what happened was the FBI obtained a FISA warrant to surveil Carter Page after he left the campaign.
Oh, that's what that
You're
was.
making a leap.
He was like he was leading us to what was happening.
It's like, you wiretapped me. No, we got a FISA warrant to surveil Carter Page after you fired him from your campaign because he was a spy.
Yeah, it's like a criminal complaining they got convicted and put in prison. It's like, yeah, no shit, because that's how the law works.
That's how that shit works, bro. Anyway, he's in an all-out war against the Department of Justice right now. Trump is, and he is right about one thing. This is bigger than Watergate. A late note to this story, though. On Sunday morning, Trump tweeted, quote, "I hereby demand, and will do so officially tomorrow, that the Department of Justice look into whether or not the FBI, DOJ infiltrated or surveilled the Trump campaign for political purposes, and if any such demands or requests were made by people within the Obama administration." Now,
thanks, Obama.
Here's the weird thing. This guy, Halper, is a known CIA operative, having formerly worked for Reagan to spy on Carter, and also did covert work for Nixon. And I can't help but wonder why the New York Times and Washington Post refused to reveal his name when he could have been easily Googled. They went up to the line, basically. They said he's a U.S. citizen, he's a Cambridge professor. He's done work with the CIA in the past.
Everything but his name.
Yeah, anyone who knows anything knows that that's his name, but they didn't reveal his name. The Intercept is saying that this guy spoke to Papadopoulos before he mouthed off to Alexander Downer. So this could be a speed bump for the Department of Justice. So I guess put some sad beans on this.
Put some beans on it.
All right, you guys, we'll be right back. Greetings, this is AG from Mueller, She Wrote. I wanted to remind you to book your summer holiday in San Diego for the week of the 4th of July, because on July 3rd, we're hosting Mueller, She Wrote live at the Comedy Store in La Jolla. Patrons will get a discount code for both regular and VIP tickets, and the VIP tickets get you access to our exclusive post-show meet and greet cocktail mixer, where you can meet and hang out with Jordan, Jaleesa, our past guests and business partners, and of course yours truly. Patrons not only get discounts to tickets for our live events, but you get membership in the MSW Book Club, access to our entire archive of bonus episodes, a weekly newsletter created by Jordan that includes all the week's articles and my personal research notes, and an array of great gifts including t-shirts, laptop stickers, limited edition loose leaf Earl Grey polonium tea from our friends at joysteaspoon.com, access to our closed Facebook group, and our Sexy Justice calendar, which is out this month. So head over to MuellerSheWrote.com today and click subscribe to become a patron. And then head to thecomedystore.com and click La Jolla for your MSW live tickets today. You'll be glad you did. Welcome back. It's time for the Fantasy Indictment League.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we lose a point for not naming Manafort's son-in-law.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we should do the whole family.
Yeah.
But I think we can
lose a point.
We do. We lose a point. First of all, I have no idea where. I hope someone's keeping track out there.
We got to make a chart on our own. I think. Yeah,
I'm busy. So if
I'll
there's
work
somebody,
on it.
all right.
Yeah.
But seriously, we have at least 90 people in 4 different categories.
It's that block of Russians that really screws with it.
The big block of Russians. I just said bunch of Russians and a bunch of more Russians.
Yes, the covfefe of Russians.
That's totally fine with me. But yeah, we lost a point. We didn't name Manafort's son-in-law. Who knew? But I think we can comfortably add 2 Stone informants to the cooperation list. That's Sullivan and Kakanis. Or Kakanis, whatever. We would also be remiss if we didn't add Cohen's Korean translator Mark Ko and his company Demeter Direct.
That's right.
And I am convinced, and I've been saying this for a while, that the next tranche of indictments will be out, and it will be about the DNC hack, and it will involve Stone. So put some beans on it.
Oh.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Your indictment prediction. My God. What am I saying?
AG's behind everything.
It's crazy how one letter makes such a huge difference. I guess two, actually. That's how you spell production. Anyway, so your prediction about the translator, is that because of misprision?
No. That's just, he's going to cooperate.
Okay.
And I'm sure they'll be able to find laws that he's broken. It's kind of like, Roland, a drug dealer.
Okay.
His company's got a lot of weird dealings in the past. They'll find something and they'll say, yeah, we're going to charge you.
Yeah.
Or you can cooperate. And he'll go, I'll cooperate.
That's true. They probably look for specific translators that are okay with like international crimes.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing
is that?
And here's the thing. If he broke any laws and if he gave up all of the goods to Mueller, without making a deal, Mueller will charge him. Mueller doesn't, I don't think Mueller's the kind of guy that goes in, sees that you committed a bunch of crimes, tries to flip you on him, and you flip on your own and not use those again.
Yeah.
He's not going to let that go. Just like in Comey's book where he's like, I can't not charge Martha Stewart, even though she's a nice, white, rich lady.
That's what makes them them.
Yeah, well, you have to do your job, and Mueller's no different than that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's what I think. It's going to be the DNC hack. It'll be Stone. Those are going to be the next whole group. It could involve Kushner too. I think the Manafort superseding indictments are waiting.
Okay.
I can't believe Kushner's name is still not popped up in any other shit
I think because
lately.
he's the big fish. He's one of the big fish.
I know. I'm just so impatient.
Yeah, same. Totally.
Yeah, we just have to remember, like, Benghazi was 2 years, 4 years for Iran-Contra, 4 years, 3.5, 4 years for Watergate. Like,
yeah,
a year it's a baby still.
Oh, I wanted to ask this fun fact that I don't know the answer to. Maybe you do, AG or Jaleesa.
Okay.
The number of people that were indicted in Watergate?
50.
All right, good to know. As long as it's up there. I was just thinking our list is getting long, and I'm really hoping that it can satisfy that number. That would be.
Right.
Well, let's see. People indicted. It was in the 20s, I think, that were actually indicted and convicted.
Oh, but 50 total of like cooperating witnesses and all that good stuff.
I don't know.
Then there's the number of people that could have been indicted and then flipped. I guess depending on when they were indicted.
Yeah.
40 government officials indicted or jailed.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Watergate.info. And if you guys don't listen to Slow Burn, you should listen to it.
Oh, yes.
And if you're part of Slow Burn and listening to this right now, hi, I love you.
What up?
Are you guys ready for sabotage?
Yes.
All right, you guys. Saturday, the New York Times dropped a huge story. There was a second Trump Tower conspiracy meeting. The first, of course, is the June 2016 meeting with Donald Trump Jr., Manafort, Kushner, and the gaggle of Russians in hopes to get dirt on Hillary Clinton, right? Oh, if it's what you say, I love it.
Right.
This new meeting took place in August 2016, right about the time the investigation was getting opened up, at Trump Tower with Donald Trump Jr., a Republican donor, and an emissary for United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia who offered to help Trump win the election using social media campaigns.
Jesus.
Eric Prince arranged the meeting with Nader. He's the guy who represented the UAE and SA, that's United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, and an Israeli social media specialist named Joe Zamel, who'd already cooked up a multi-million-dollar proposal for social media manipulation to elect Donald Trump. After Trump was elected, Nader paid Zamel $2 million. The UAE and the Saudi Arabia were interested in nixing the Iran nuclear deal, and they wanted a U.S.-backed blockade against Qatar, both of which have happened.
Yeah.
Okay. It's also important to note that Zamel has worked with Deripaska and Dmitry Ravlovlev. Do you remember who?
Ravlovlev.
Remember RoboCop?
Yeah.
He's the guy who bought the Trump mansion, the $50 million Trump mansion in Florida for $95 million, and then resold it for $50 million.
Yeah.
Laundered.
Totally.
Laundered.
So he worked with Deripaska. He knows RoboCop. Anyway, go ahead and add Zamel to our indictment league.
All right.
He could end up as a cooperating witness, but he seems like a target to me, man.
Yeah.
The most infuriating thing, too, is that Trump is turning around to his base and saying, see, look at all these things I've done that are so good, when really they're all these quid pro quo shit from his fucking campaign.
Because he knows his base is not the most... I mean, here's the thing.
It's like a double offense.
Yeah, there's the base, I think, that are like his friends, but they're the minority, and there's the bigger part of the base. They're like kind of the uneducated, I think, just like a lot of Democrats too, but like I think it really
some are educated.
But it's like split. It's split in a way that I don't think is proportional. Like I think there's definitely
33%.
Yeah, there's definitely more people that don't know how much they're getting fucked. I bet.
Right, exactly. That's the thing. It's like, are you really not connecting the dots that the pretty random fucking acts
they're
that
probably
he's
not
pushing
obsessed,
through
which
that
is
has never
fair,
been challenged,
right? They don't care for the news.
But
they
if
watch
people
it.
can believe in a flat Earth, they can believe that this is all deep space.
You're right.
Deep state conspiracy.
And you probably can't tell them otherwise, but some of them I want to believe.
Yeah, but think about it.
Yeah,
people think that it's a conspiracy that we have a round Earth.
Right.
And that we're being tricked by the man.
It might be a small portion.
Now, why wouldn't you think that the Republicans are...
You're totally right. Like, of the 33%,
thinking the same thing.
There might be 5% that are flat earthers and we'll never get them back. But I do believe it's like, I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, I'm comparing.
Yeah, you're right about
I'm not saying they're flat Earth. I'm not saying that there are flat earthers that are Trump supporters, although they probably are.
You're
what
just
I'm saying
that
is
it's ridiculous.
akin
if not
to
more.
it.
Mm-hmm.
It's akin to believing the most ridiculous thing. It's the anti-Occam's razor. And for what? So that your feelings don't get...
That's all they care about.
Or that you're not wrong.
Hopefully they're not the majority, though. That's what I'm just hoping.
I want to know how many of them have small wieners.
Anthony Weiner. Oh, he's not conservative.
I heard it's pretty okay.
Anthony Weiner is surprisingly transparent for what a fuckhead he is.
That's what I'm saying is that at least the side that, I fall on, I feel like they own up. It's not always a good feeling. It's definitely... sometimes career
Sorry
crushing.
about your wieners.
Yeah, I mean, but like I think it's
Not
better.
everyone's
to own
a
up.
wiener.
Yeah.
Don't take out your small wiener on the rest of the world.
Yeah.
True.
All right, you guys, time for Q&A. So this is becoming my new favorite section of this whole thing.
I love this. Cartoon Planet.
Yeah.
That was like, I remember being a very small child and seeing that, I think.
Oh, yeah, I was in high school, college.
Yeah.
It was my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Brack and Zorak. Brack is like, hi, everybody. Yeah, he's one of my favorite
I know nothing of
characters
this.
of all time. Do you have a VCR? Because I can lend you my...
Do you have a VCR?
Oh my gosh.
Don't.
Oh, damn.
But
It's
I have a
probably
VHS
$15.
Yeah. Swap meet.
Yeah, totally, right? They definitely have VCRs at
bet.
swap meets.
That'd be fun.
All right, first I'm excited to announce that T-Pain is following us, you guys.
Hey.
Not the political T-Pain.
Okay.
Check him out at T-Pain USA on Twitter. He's got so many great breaking news stories on Trump, Russia, UAE, Saudi Arabia. He is so fun to listen to.
It's
and he's-
TEA.
Yeah, I was
right?
gonna
Like
say, how do you
sip
spell
and
it?
tea.
like Tea Party.
There you go. Nice.
T-Pain. He's got a book out called Tweetheart, American Tweetheart, or something like that.
Ooh.
He's just funny. And
I want to
Damn.
auto-tune this whole thing right here.
I know. Sade.
That would be so great.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
At Walligator asked, why is Jordan so cool?
Oh my gosh.
That's a good question.
Wow, you surprised me with that one.
Let's guess why Jordan's so cool.
Let's see.
All right. I think Jordan was raised by really nice people, but maybe no. You just raised yourself.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I think I was raised by, very cool parents, but also, enough trauma to make you a cool person.
The right amount of wrong things happen to you.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
There you go.
That's very nice of you to say, Walligator. Thank you.
You're an ENTJ. That immediately makes you a cool person.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
ENTJ in the house. Woo. Yeah. I'm so old. All right. Resistance Schnauzers wants to know, by the way, I love Schnauzers, what our next book club book is going to be. People seem to be suggesting Madeleine Albright's book, Fascism.
Yes. I'm reading it right now.
I would love to do that.
I'd be super down.
It's really good.
Tweeted us.
I'll finish it. Yeah.
At Mueller, she wrote with your suggestions. Right now, I think the Madeleine Albright book might be the first in the running, but tweet at us. Convince me.
Yeah, she's great.
Let's see what they want next too. We can just start planning
At Mueller,
them
she
out.
wrote, and I am going to need you right now to go to Apple Podcasts and give us a rating.
Yes.
I'm
Oh, yes,
totally going to
please.
need you to do that. that's it's very important this week. I can't tell you why, but it
is important.
Please.
Get a harmony for the please. Yeah. What were you going to say, Jordan? Oh, please.
Please. Apple Podcasts.
Not bad.
Could be worse.
Rate us now.
Similar to the book you're
5
reading.
stars, though. Sorry.
She's broken, guys. We can't fix it.
The book, I think it's called The Dictator's Handbook. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, that was another one I was
That's-
interested in.
Oh,
Yes,
I'd love to.
That one's great and just so fucking terrifying.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be.
You know what would be fun too?
You guys can do spin-off podcasts if you want.
But I love this one too.
I was gonna say
we're so invested.
This is
It is a lot of time. I know.
I want to do everything within this podcast.
Yeah.
Dude, but thank you,
9,500 more subscribers, and we can quit our day job.
Dude, please. Dave & Buster's does not pay as much as I thought. I'm so sorry. I thought I'd be the CEO.
Now they owe us $5.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
That's true. Also, what we could do, just an idea, if ever we have like a week in between switching books or something, we could always go over political theory essays that relate to the stuff that's kind of going on, and maybe just like moral.
We can do that in minisodes too.
Oh yeah.
If you ever want to write a minisode, seriously, you only need like 3 or 4 paragraphs.
Can I do more music stuff, like music minisode, right? Maybe like political music.
As long as it's politically involved.
Yes.
Yeah.
People really liked our Childish Gambino.
I thought so too.
So between the essays and the music and the books, cool.
Run it by me.
Okay, awesome.
All right, cool.
Do
nice.
it. Whatever minisodes I'm down to make.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, we're gonna have 4 this week. If people are saying, you need a daily podcast, we might end up with one, but you have to be a patron to get the rest of them. It's $1.
Dude, someone today was like, only $1. They were like, they didn't know.
Yeah, it's a great
deal.
So
cheap.
Yep, and we only need 9,600 more of you.
Yeah. You walk into a dollar store, you get lead paint, not knowledge.
Yeah.
Dude, so true.
That should be our slogan. At Pride156, Wayne Tracker asked if the SAR leak was more of a tip-off to Trump than an altruistic whistleblow.
Oh, good question.
Ooh, I don't know.
What do you feel?
I feel it wasn't.
Wasn't a tip-off to Trump?
No. I think that kind of thing is what it is. It's not. If it were a tip-off to Trump, it wouldn't have been made public.
Got it. Yes.
I don't think it would have been like Nunes would have carried it over at midnight.
And it would also just seem like it's kind of a weird thing to use frivolously. It has so much substance
I guess it could be tipping him off like, hey, we know about these payments. Remember those other 2 SARs that aren't there anymore?
Right.
Those are going to come out soon too.
Yeah.
It could be
both.
Like
it could be like just a win-win, for Avenatti.
And I don't know that he was actually is an altruistic whistleblower either. I think he's just a leaker.
You're right.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Catherine Carter. I'm going to mess up this last name. Catherine Carter Remerde. It's Remmerde.
Yeah.
Remmerde. Remerde.
Okay.
That's what I say.
Nice.
Remerde. Remerde.
It's pretty. Yeah, it sounds like
French.
it's spelled French.
Yeah, I like it.
She says, quote, standing against firing rumors, he is moving forward with his investigation. We must not allow his investigation to be covered up. Stand with the truth. 5 stars.
Aww,
that was a review.
Yes. Thank you.
John Abbott says, absolutely impressed with the information these women pull together every week, as well as their style of presentation. While I hope this investigation ends soon, I hope you will continue with something new. 5 stars.
Aww.
Yay. A few people DM'd us this week asking us when we're coming out to the East Coast.
Yes.
We only need about 1,000 more patrons to swing that.
Only 1,000.
So share the pod and tell people to support us at Patreon.
Honestly, I will say this. The podcasts that we're up in the related podcast section on iTunes, they are up to a couple thousand, 10,000 patrons. I don't know if you know this, one of our top similar podcasts, Resistance Live, I guess they're popular, so a shout out wouldn't hurt. They have 13,000 patrons. And I feel like it's probably a lot of time they've put in, but I feel like, the people are out there. Spread the word, guys.
Oh, yeah, Resistance follow back.
Yeah, I think they want it. The people want it.
We'll break through one day.
Yeah. But we're patient.
We'll do it. There'll be a tipping point. I'm not sure when it is. But
yeah, it could be the right person spreading it to the right people. Yeah.
How good does it feel that there's a community of people in podcasts and just dedicated, intelligent people?
We're an army.
Yeah.
The Resistance is like Hunger Games.
Twitter has become such a weirdly
camaraderie,
comfortable safety blanket.
It used to be all haters and trolls. I mean, I guess it's still.
Well, once you can weed the bots out, I mean, and a bot is easily recognizable. They've got a lot of numbers, a string of numbers in their name.
Oh yeah.
They have less than 100 followers. They don't speak English very well.
Right.
Yeah.
Be best, for example.
No, that's actually a different language.
It's
that's not English.
But that's true.
Yeah. Also, I gotta give props to Ann Craig, who only recently got a Twitter and is since killing it with all
She
the
is
follow backs.
slaying the Twitter
She
game.
like picked up on Twitter faster than anyone I've ever
me,
seen.
and I was in there for like 4 years.
I think she was asking us for tips too, though. So
Yeah.
So big ups to all of us.
Yeah, I'm
Teamwork.
taking notes from you, Anne.
That's fucking teamwork. Okay. So East Coast, we want to come out. Maybe we can do a Kickstarter. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a GoFundMe.
Oh yeah, we've
or
never
something.
even done that.
Just a little quick one for the East Coast, like a tour.
Yeah, like
a
New
short-
York.
Yeah,
Let's go to New York. But we would need a venue.
Well,
So somebody we would need somebody who knows like Gotham or the Knitting Factory or something.
Right.
And then we need maybe Tamara can.
I was just
don't
gonna say,
know.
does Tamara have any homies still?
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard to get that level of homie.
Yeah.
In New York,
That's
It is,
fair.
yeah.
I'll say this: there have been people on the West Coast, like Washington and New York, who have offered
East
up.
Coast?
East Coast, yeah.
East Coast.
What kind of accents are we making up today?
I don't know.
I don't even understand.
You think Washington's on the West Coast, and I'm saying Coast. So
Washington D.C.
Yeah, I figured that's what you meant.
So we have had people suggest or offer their place up. I know that we're not going to go anywhere, but the idea is that we don't need much. We just need travel, really, to get there, and everything else. I feel like our fans would be really, really chill.
Oh yeah, well I'm staying at the Waldorf, but whatever you guys want to do.
I'll let you know how it is at Tim's house.
I'll sleep in Central Park on a bench.
There you go. Cover all our bases.
Oh God. Alrighty. Speaking of Anne, at Ann Deuce of Cups asked if we think that Mueller has found and met with Mifsud.
What if Mueller has him in a room somewhere?
Oh, sounds
That's
terrible.
pretty awful.
If he hasn't reunited him with his child, you're a dick. Mueller.
Yeah, good point.
Come on, bro. Maybe he's got him in a room and he's showing pictures of him of his child, like
for torture or for.
And he's like,
tell me what I want to know.
I don't want to see him.
You're gonna tell me what I want to know.
Get it out of my face.
I don't think Mueller has Mifsud.
I don't think so either.
At this point,
Maybe no one except for the Italian Secret Service.
Yeah,
apparently.
but it would be weird that the Italian government has him, knows where he is, and isn't sharing that information.
You're
with
right.
the American government.
He would have to be indicted overseas by Mueller for him to actually get asylum in Italy, right? Do you think that could happen?
I don't think Italy would refuse an extradition
Because they're our ally.
Yeah. I mean, that would just be weird. I could see Russia doing it. Obviously, when we indicted the 13 Russians, they're like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
If we indicted somebody, an Iranian or an Iraqi or something, if we indicted a Kuwaiti, they would extradite to us. If we indicted, we have our allies and we have certain conventions that we go by.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the Italians would be hiding him from us.
Me neither.
Because
Natasha might know.
that seems awfully weird. Yeah, that's why I want to get her on the phone.
Mm-hmm. The Mifsud mystery will be solved soon enough.
It's such a mystery.
Yeah.
It's its own mini-sode. Yeah. Dun dun.
But Natasha, call us.
Please.
At Sam Stanton Says, asked why we think the informant was talking to Paige and Papadopoulos. That's
obvious, right?
Just no, I don't know if it's that obvious. That's just what the reporting.
Oh,
says.
okay, yeah.
Reporting New York Times, reporting Washington Post. That's and I maybe even this informant himself, which we now know is Stefan. Stefan, the hottest club in New York.
Oh my goodness! So I just wonder, it sounds like
Stefan Halper. I think he, he may have said this, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
When they say why exactly, right?
Yeah.
Because they ask why would he have been talking to them?
Not if, but why. Oh, sorry, my bad. Why he was talking to Paige and Papadopoulos.
Top Russian affiliates, right? Like they seem to be.
Well, I think it was told by the FBI.
Oh, those are the
Either
guys.
that, or he happens to run in the same circles and
just
happened to
knew.
speak with them, and then came back and informed them.
Right. That's
we
what I
explained
think
that earlier
too.
too. Now that you mention it,
I lean more towards that.
Yeah.
I lean more towards he runs in those circles and maybe even searches those kind of people out, and then goes to the FBI and says, "I've talked to these people. You want to give me some?"
So he's just a total
cheddar.
piece of crap.
He might be.
Sounds like sort of a piece of crap.
Just for money, though. He does whatever he can.
It's
for
bad
money.
for us.
He's
but
like an
it's-
arms dealer or something.
It's bad for us.
Yeah.
But I am not going to not report something because it's not good news for us.
And what if he's the only source? Right? Like it seems like we don't want to be desperate. We also just want to report, like you said, what we have.
Justice is our goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am not beyond indicting Democrats. I am not not myself. But
right.
If Mueller finds indictments for Democrats Democrats. I'm not going to throw up a big stink. I'm going to take what he says
Totally.
because I believe in what he's doing.
You're right.
And if this guy is an asshole, he's an asshole, and I'm not going to not tell you about it.
And that's really important. Yeah, I think making that distinction. Yeah.
Again, I think that it's still, I mean, these are different reports from different people, and everything, obviously everything we come out with, it doesn't have evidence behind it is conjecture, but I'm not going to not report that to you.
I appreciate that, AJ.
Yeah, and exactly, it's like it undermines the whole reason why we started this podcast. We're not a partisan podcast, while we seem like we are sometimes. Maybe
we can be biased.
We don't have
but
an agenda other than wanting to get to the bottom of this investigation.
Right.
Well, I've learned a lot going through my PhD, how to recognize my own bias, how to make sure I don't let it creep in to affect things that I report as fact versus things I report as conjecture. Yes, it's a conjecture, but I'm right. I am usually right. But that, again, I want to separate those things. I want to make sure that you know that this guy is shady.
Yes.
I don't want to, I could have easily just left it out.
Yeah, but you chose not to because it's important to you to tell the full story, no matter where it goes.
Everyone needs all the reporting. Whether or not they're facts or not yet, we don't know. But
yes.
I wanted to give you that report.
Yeah,
so thank you.
And you don't want people that are like against us to
use it against
drop.
us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do something against us, and then we haven't even addressed it, and then it's like, why haven't you addressed it?
Although I will say that CYA is what we call that, covering your ass.
Yeah,
covering my ass is secondary to reporting what I hear.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I appreciate covering my ass.
Facts first, and then.
But it's not about me. It's about what I tell you. I feel now that we have gotten to this point. We're so big. We're the first podcast about the Mueller, first and only podcast about just the Mueller investigation. Although, I mean, we have some more now that are actually really cool.
Yeah.
Mueller time is very cool. But I want to make sure that I'm not just giving you one side of the story.
Right, because biases are, I think we all have them. Even Comey mentions that bias makes you who you are. You can't even like really escape it.
No, you can't. Because I will say this, when I read that, I was like, ooh, should I tell everybody? And then I was like, duh.
You checked your bias. Yes. You didn't deny it. You just checked it. It's one thing to say I don't have one. Yeah.
I recognized it, and I said, I have to do what I can to overcome these biases.
Yeah.
And I think it's confidence in truth prevailing. And it's like, yes, of course, maybe people want to view this investigation as just strictly good versus evil, but it is much more fluid than that. And there's always going to be elements that
are gray.
Exactly.
They're on the spectrum.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you have to address them head on. It's like when I see this podcast sometimes as us like in time throughout history, a nice solid argument for the legitimacy of the Mueller investigation.
Totally.
And so if we don't include stuff like that, then
we're doing a
it
disservice
makes us questionable to like the place that we have in reporting this stuff.
You know what? In fact, we should add a segment called the Donald's Advocate and just every week say something nice about Donald.
Yeah, I don't think. Fuck that. At RJ Alias asked if Mueller restricted the SARs or if Trump and Mnuchin removed them. So we talked about this a little bit earlier. Those SARs that were supposed to be in the SinFen database, Mnuchin's in charge of that because he's in charge of the Treasury. Do we think Trump and Mnuchin pulled those SARs out, or do we think Mueller and the FBI and the DOJ restricted them? I personally think Mueller restricted those SARs, and that's why they have gone walkies, if you will. I don't see any foul play here. I'm not sure why they left the one, unless the information in the other two could have given up information to Trump's campaign that would help them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's my thought.
I agree with you. I feel like if it was the other one, we would have seen other corresponding news stories that maybe led to the covering up of that or something, you know?
At Gorbasaya13 asked if the Cohen whistleblower is doing it for Mueller, or will it let Trump hide or destroy evidence of his involvement in Cohen's pay-to-play shell? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Could you repeat the question for me?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Is the Cohen whistleblower doing it for Mueller, or will it let Trump hide or destroy evidence of his involvement in Cohen's pay-to-play shell?
It. Okay.
I mean, it might be for...
Sorry.
I was just going to say, it could be... No, you go ahead. I don't even know how I feel.
The Cohen whistleblower
so they're referencing Giuliani going in that interview.
No,
and
Cohen's whistleblower is for the way I take that is the law enforcement guy who released the SAR, right?
Oh.
Is he doing it for Mueller, or will it let Trump hide?
I thought it was
or is it
the
for
general
Trump?
crippling of the Cohen case.
Yeah, I was like, which whistleblower? But now that you mention that, okay, so
like,
it sounds
did
similar.
he release it to get Mueller to pay attention, or did he release it to give Trump information?
It's like the last question we got, right? Kind of like,
Pretty much,
what was his purpose?
yeah.
What his intentions? And I think we agreed that it was for Mueller. It was for the sake of the investigation and less about Trump, and whatever he would take away from it.
I'm not sure why. I think we just covered this, didn't we?
We did. We said Avenatti, though, in this case, was leaking the SARS so that he could do it for justice and not for...
Well, the one SAR.
Yeah, exactly. Leaking the SAR to not tip off Trump. But
the guy who leaked the SAR from the database.
That guy, I think same reason. I don't know too much about him, though. So I think it would just take more research to know what his intentions could have been. But generally speaking, I feel like they would do it for the case, because it's just such a weird thing to be petty about.
Yeah. Also, the bummer to it is you can confirm that it was to tip off Mueller, or you can confirm that it was for Mueller, but you can't really confirm that it was to tip off Trump,
right?
Which is a bummer.
It's very
right. Well,
tricky.
This is because it was at Pride 156. He said, "Is the SAR leak a tip off to Trump?" More than an altruistic whistleblower. And
yeah,
I
exactly.
Think, we covered this.
Yeah,
altruistic is the key word there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Good question. It did throw me off for a minute, but
right, which make it, and I whenever I think about Avenatti himself, I'm like, altruistic,
right. Yeah. I love that people are thinking the same things too. They're all like, I wonder what the intentions are. Yeah,
and I feel like there's a really weird little pool of information that's getting leaked in all these various ways, and some of it's like, is it getting leaked because the Trump campaign's trying to slowly leak it to people? Is it getting leaked to tip them off? Is it getting leaked because...
And we may never find out with each thing. Like you said, it's so hard to prove.
Yep, absolutely. We don't know where it's going. At Cherry Bile 26 says, quote, I know the Senate investigation tried not to step on Mueller's investigation, but would they freely share information? Are there legal procedures to obtain the testimony if Donald Trump Jr. hadn't been made public to add to Mueller's evidence pile without having to interview Donald Trump Jr. himself?
We were just talking about that kind of. Yeah, that's funny.
Go ahead. What were you?
Oh, well, just when I was asking you that, what the process looks like exactly, more or less, I think is what that question relates to. Just if it's legally obtained and it's at that point, can a person of the public request to see it? I don't know if it's so much as them requesting to see it or if it would just hit the news cycle. I think at that point it would just hit the news cycle. Yeah. And it would become public information at that point.
Yeah, earlier in the episode we were saying I think everything that goes to Congress is just, they're saying it's just going to be public. If Congress has it, if Congress has a testimony, whether or not they've released it to the public, I think Mueller has it. That's just my view. I could be completely wrong. If you are an insider and know better, please tweet at me, at Mueller, she wrote, so that I can figure that out. At Trailblazer Girl asked, quote, what the hell is this email? In reference to an email released in the massive document dump from the Senate Judiciary. The email is to Goldstone.
Yes.
July 23rd from the Mooch. Remember Scaramucci?
Yeah.
It says, quote, I don't officially start until the 15th, but I want to drop you a line and say if you ever need to pick my brain, my door is always open. Obviously, there is still pressure on all sides, but if we remain consistent and united, I don't envisage any issues we can't ride out.
Hilarious. God damn, they're dumb.
Well, Mooch came in, had a job for 11 days. I think...
Wait. He was 15 days away and then only lasted 11 after.
days. Yeah. So he sent an email to Goldstone saying, hang tight, my friend. This could have been in response to Goldstone saying, what the fuck? I've been interviewed a million times.
Yeah.
Although I think that was earlier. I think that was the year before. But yeah, I think it was just the general, everybody hang tight, stay close, huddle together.
Also, if you set the precedent like that before you're officially in the office and are supposed to be serving in that role's capacity,
Act, right?
then it's like, then I guess it's better to do it before you're sworn in or whatever.
Jeez.
Not sworn in.
It's better, but still awful.
Piece of shit.
Obviously.
I, the Mooch, will do some shit. The end.
Yeah.
I put his hand on a copy of the VHS of The Godfather or whatever.
I like to believe that they think it would look worse if they sent that email when he was actually in the acting capacity of that role versus now when everyone can still see it.
At Clint Jenkins 85 asked us if we can make time slow down. Probably not. The best I can do is go back in time 13 seconds.
So, how does he know about the Omega-13 device?
One of our listeners was right. Galaxy Quest is one of the most underrated movies of all time. By Grabthar's Hammer. What a savings. At Hoagiehorn asked our thoughts given that Judge Ellis asked and believes that Manafort indictments are a hammer to get him to flip on Trump. So does Ellis believe a sitting POTUS can be indicted? Yeah, I think he believes that.
Interesting.
I think any judge worth his salt is gonna. And Ellis seems like he's into due process, and he's
very
tough on the government side. He wants to make sure that things are brought for the right reasons. I don't think that he thinks anyone's above the law, honestly. And I like how she's like, I'd like your non-lawyer thoughts on this. Like you probably have a better insight than we do.
Well, I mean,
it's Kimberly. It's
exactly. I was going to say, of course, she knows her stuff better than we would, but I bet just like people appreciate our perspective of non-political figures doing this podcast, it can be equally, beneficial. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it is crazy too. Like, what you would intuitively think is the right thing to happen versus what can technically happen due to just the law,
as
the language of the law.
It's the purest form of interest. It's like, how does it affect your day to day? How do you feel about this in your life? Like, not just your career, like your living. Like, it's a big deal.
But his accusation, the judge's accusation, that the only reason that they're trying Manafort is to get him to flip on Trump. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you would make the connection of whether or not he believes that he can be indicted. I mean, I think that, I don't know. I feel like he's a straightforward guy.
Yeah.
And he takes the law as it comes.
That's how it sounds.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Mueller is a little different. He's similar, but it sounds like he won't indict Trump.
I don't know.
Oh, because this is Ellis we're talking about, right? Yeah, so Mueller...
we have a whole mini-sode coming up on whether or not Mueller's going to indict Trump.
Well, I'll just wait for that.
Yeah.
It's up in the air still. Yes, we have been saying, and I have been saying, and I have put beans on
all over that.
The fact that I think that Mueller will follow that DOJ policy that says you cannot indict a sitting president.
Right.
However, the guy who wrote the policy came out with a new piece of information this week. And we're going to do a mini-sode on it.
Well, very nice. Good to hear.
It's going to be a good one.
But yeah, Manafort's a fucking criminal.
That's the free one, so everyone can hear it. You don't have to be a patron to get it.
Yes.
But Manafort is a fucking criminal.
Yeah, he's a fucking criminal, and regardless, should be tried and indicted.
For sure.
Indicted and tried, I should say.
And finally, at Crazy Fat Farm, 7 Acre Books asked, quote, what wine pairs best with White House scandal?
Ooh, what are we doing today?
Well, the answer is any wine. Anything. Any wine. Ripple, whatever. Mad Dog 2020. I know it's not wine. Any wine.
I would go with
Boone's Farm.
If I may, because I agree, anything will do, but I always think Olivia Pope's scandal, like she always drinks red wine while she eats popcorn, and she worked for the White House, and that was her thing. It was
That's interesting. Red wine with popcorn? I wouldn't pair those two.
I would not either.
Yeah.
But I would pair White House scandal with literally anything that has alcohol in it.
Yes.
Really.
Agreed.
I love it.
All right, great. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. This has been a really fun episode. I've been AG.
I've been Jaleesa Johnson.
I've been Jordan Coburn.
And this is Mueller, She Wrote. Mueller, She Wrote is produced and engineered by AG with editing and logo design by Jaleesa Johnson. Market consulting by Amanda Reeder at Unicorn Creative. Our digital media director and subscriber managers are Jordan Coburn and Sarah Hirschberger Valencia. Our partners are fastgrass.org and joysteaspoon.com. Fact-checking and research by AG with support from Jaleesa Johnson and Jordan Coburn. Mueller, She Wrote staff includes AG, Jaleesa Johnson, Jordan Coburn, Sarah Hirschberger Valencia, Jesse Egan, and Sarah Lee Steiner. Our web design and branding are by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios, and our website is MuellerSheWrote.com.